I want to say good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Every.Black Mastermind meeting. My name is Camille Richardson, and I am your fabulous MC for the evening. A little bit about me really quickly. I am the founder and CEO of two companies. One of them is Blind Girl Vision, which is my motivational speaking company, also my media company. I do motivational speaking for different organizations, and I named it Blind Girl Vision because I am totally blind, but I still have a vision. And I also have IC Technologies, where I teach people who are blind and visually impaired how to use their assistive technologies. So that's a teeny tiny little tidbit about your fabulous MC for the evening. So just a few little housekeeping tidbits before we get started on the meeting. The meeting is being recorded. I just want to let you all know that it's being recorded here on Zoom, and it's also being streamed on Facebook Live. So we encourage you to please go and share the live stream on your social media page. You can go to facebook.com/every.black and share the live stream on your page. If you could please stay on mute unless you have a question or a comment. And if possible, there's a raise your hand feature, so you can raise your hand so that you can be called on. And when you are called on, please state your name and location before you speak so that we'll know who you are and where you are. And I said that, and I've got to tell y'all that I am in Raleigh, North Carolina. So there, I am following the rules now. So now I'm going to give you a brief overview of the program. So the evening includes the Every.Black introductory video. After that, I will discuss the mission and the benefits of Every.Black and the benefits of attending a mastermind meeting. Then Ms. Deborah Wright will read the S.B. Fuller book, followed by a short discussion. And then the Every.Black founder himself, Mr. Jimmy Davies, will share some announcements. Excuse me, y'all, I'm kind of tongue-tied on this Monday night. He will share some announcements and also give us a few tech tips. Then Ms. Wheatley Exum will share an encouraging Bible verse. Ms. Jacqueline Bowens, who happens to also be my mama, will also be introducing the guest. And behind the scenes, we have Ms. Kim Smith, who is our engineer. And after our guest speaker, we are also going to be doing some networking exercises. So we'll be going into breakout rooms so that we all get to know who all is in the meeting, and everybody will be able to meet somebody else on the call. So after the speaker speaks, please don't leave because we have that coming up. And then we will close out in prayer. So now, Mr. Jimmy Davies, if you will play the Every.Black introductory video, the floor is all yours.
I grew up in Flint, Michigan during the 60s, and I remember as a child the civil rights movement. And I remember as family would huddle around this black and white TV and watch all of the things that were going on in Alabama and Mississippi. Some of my cousins, older cousins, were active in the movement, and every Sunday we would have a large Sunday dinner with the extended family. And they would come back on Sundays and they would tell us about all the things they'd seen and done. And as a child, about 8 or 9 years old, I always wanted to grow up and be a part of that. But by the time I became of age, it was all over. All of the marching was done. I always felt left out, that I didn't get a chance to participate in the civil rights movement. But little did I know that God had another plan for me as a computer instructor and database developer. We as a people had to overcome slavery and secondly, obtain our civil rights, being able to eat in any restaurant or stay in any hotel that we wanted. But the third piece is economic equality. I'm convinced that to achieve economic equality, it has to be through entrepreneurship. And we must use technology and a strategy of global networking. And that's why I created Every.Black, to use my 30 years of experience as a computer instructor and database developer to use technology to promote our members. We do it in a wide variety of ways. Of course, we list them on the website. We list our members in a directory that is downloadable from the website and our podcast, and distribute it at trade shows and other events. We constantly promote our members on social media and weekly email blast. Our social media followers and recipients of our email blast numbers in the tens of thousands. With over 30 podcast shows that air weekly, we reach people around the world, educating them about every aspect of becoming an entrepreneur. Where you can be interviewed on one of our podcasts or join Every.Black and have your own podcast. We have a complete package of services catered specifically for the entrepreneur. And last, we conduct weekly Mastermind meetings, where we read positive books and learn about entrepreneurship while networking with like-minded individuals. Just go to www.every.black to register for our weekly mastermind meetings. And that's what Every.Black is all about. Whether it's through mastermind meetings, providing the members with more exposure through social media and email blast, interviewing the members on podcast, and even providing them with their own podcast. We also make it very affordable for anyone to join, from a basic listing to a bronze, silver, or gold membership. So visit us at Every.Black. Sign up today. Just go to Every.Black, EVERY.BLACK. No .com, no .net. Just Every.Black. .black is the new .com.
Remember that, y'all. .black is the new .com. So now I'm going to go into the mission and the benefits of attending a mastermind meeting. So what is the mission? Our mission is to assist, educate, and inspire people to create wealth through entrepreneurship by leveraging technology and a strategy of global networking. And how do we do that, you ask? We do that through the Every.Black directory. If you are a member, you're featured in the Every.Black directory, and you're also marketed on our social media sites and in email blasts. We also educate people about entrepreneurship through the Every.Black podcast network. And the best way to be educated about entrepreneurship is right here every Monday night at 8 o'clock at the Every.Black mastermind meeting right here on Zoom. So now I'm going to go into the benefits of attending a mastermind meeting. The first benefit is to discover solutions to ideas through brainstorming, tap into the experience and skills of others, increase your confidence in the decisions you make, be accountable for real progress in your business, obtain an instant and valuable network, develop a sense of family. You are not alone. And sometimes entrepreneurship can make you feel like that, but you're not, because you're here. Innovate from new ideas, and last but certainly not least, and one of the most important things, is to boost your everyday positive mental attitude, which is something we all need as entrepreneurs. So our mission is also twofold. Like I said, we network with like-minded people, and we also read positive books. So now I'm going to turn the floor over to Miss Deborah Wright, who is going to so eloquently and elegantly lead us through the reading of the S.B. Fuller book. So Miss Deborah, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Camille. Good evening, everybody. I'm Deborah Wright of Alignment Life Coaching, and I'm in Wake Forest, North Carolina. And I will be reading from the S.B. Fuller book again tonight. And as we've been talking about recently, S.B. Fuller did a very controversial speech in 1963. And as a result of that, there were a lot of civil rights leaders who had a response to that speech. So we're picking up there, and we're going to be reading about some of those comments from S.B. Fuller's speech. Jackie Robinson was one of those people who had some very strong comments about Mr. Fuller's speech. And so Jackie Robinson's attack on S.B. Fuller was answered in an open letter, which was published in the New York Courier by W. Beverly Carter, and she was the editor of the Courier. Dear Jackie, I, of course, read your article regarding Mr. S.B. Fuller in the past issue of the Amsterdam News, in which you and the leaders of the nation's civil rights organization take issue with what you understand Mr. Fuller to have said in his recent New York speech before the 68th Annual Congress of American Industry, sponsored by the National Association of Manufacturers. It is not my purpose to attempt a defense of Mr. Fuller for his record of accomplishments for himself and for large numbers of Negroes he has aided, will speak for itself. But as the only member of the Negro press who was present when the speech is made, I am obligated to set the record straight as to what was said. It's strange to me as a journalist that you and the leaders you quote and your writer, Al Duckett, would fail to demonstrate a basic tool in our trade, that of inquiry, before presuming to know the facts. Ernest Johnson, president of the United Insurance Brokers Association, and himself, a former reporter, did take the time last week to write me to say, in light of the controversy that has arisen with respect to an address recently made by S.B. Fuller, I am wondering whether there is available to me the full text of his speech. And I apologize. For those of you who have the book, I am now on page 117. I know how one-sided reporting and the daily press used as a basis of comment by Negro leaders can harm a man, as was the case with Truman K. Gibson Jr. in 1945. Mr. Johnson, as a former journalist, at least took the time to seek the full story, which since, of course, has been fully reported in the December 14, 1963 issue of the New York Courier. You weren't apparently interested enough, nor was your editor, Mr. Hicks, to call for a copy of the speech to find what was really said. The fact that Mr. Fuller proposed that Negroes take over a portion of the commercial range in the communities in which they live and do business, thereby creating 1 million more jobs for Negroes was not, I repeat, was not reported in the daily press or in your unwarranted attack upon a man of distinguished accomplishments. It is extremely significant that the daily press failed to report this astonishing proposal, and they heard it, and that you merely parroted that which they said. Is it that you feel Negroes should not own some of the retail selling and light manufacturing which they could control initially in their communities and ultimately serve the entire general public? Is this why you closed your own store some time ago here on 125th Street? Do you feel that the goal of the Negro Americans is always to be that of the beggar, asking the white man for a few of the jobs he controls? Do you feel that the 30,000 plus you may earn at your white-owned company will spend better than a comparable salary earned at a company owned and controlled by Negroes? Are you aware of the pitiful few jobs held by Negroes, such as yours, with white companies, and that Mr. Fuller has more Negroes in high positions with his company than all the positions you and other Negro vice presidents hold in otherwise white industry across the nation? Your suggestion and the suggestion of others that Mr. Fuller is uninformed is painful evidence of an abounding ignorance in high places. If Mr. Fuller were uninformed, how could he, in the heart of the Depression, have taken his life savings of $25 and built it into an industry that provides a comfortable living for over 5,000 people, over 600 of whom reside and work in the greater New York area? And for further information, at least 50% of the business done by Fuller Products and several of his subsidiaries is done in white America and in foreign countries. So, is it clear that Mr. Fuller has learned how to succeed despite barriers which you would suggest cannot be overcome? It would then appear to me that people would be anxious to line up to learn how they too can triumph over obstacles, rather than repeatedly hear why they should fail. By examining Mr. Fuller's example of success, one can readily see what can happen when people, Negro or white, utilize initiative, integrity, courage, and wisdom. And let it be absolutely understood that these basic requirements for success must be demonstrated by anyone determined to succeed. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to ask if anyone has any comments about that particular article. And that article was in response to the fact that so many civil rights leaders and Jackie Robinson had responded negatively to Mr. Fuller's speech in 1963. So are there any comments regarding the reading tonight?
Yeah, this is Jimmy in Durham, North Carolina. I don't know if don't have a lot of comments to make, but just the, I guess, gravity of that one speech has really gotten everybody upset, regardless of what side you take or was taken on this issue. It really struck a nerve, and now we still haven't gone through the rest of the book talking about this particular speech, but I think it is some good points that the writer's making. That did they get the full speech and in the proper context before forming their opinion. I don't know. So just my thoughts about it. Like, it really got everybody upset.
It did. That's a very good thought. And she brought out that thought pretty clearly, because it sounds as if people heard portions of the speech or heard the speech from other people who thought they heard what they heard, and then they made comments regarding those things. Any other thoughts?
This is Jackie Bowens out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I agree with what Jimmy was saying. It's kind of like it was so bad, so negative, what Mr. Fuller said, that it overshadowed all the good. Nobody even thought about any of the good stuff because it was just so bad, and people were probably shocked that he, considering all the things that he done for Black folks, for him to say something like that, so negative. So of course it's gonna overshadow everything else that he did. That's what it did. That was its intention in the first place, and it worked. And it was like nobody saw it to look at what he'd already done or even ask him about what he said. It just jumped on a bandwagon, and that was it. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
I agree. I think that what was lost in all of this, which was the point that was made in the letter, was that Mr. Fuller had provided a living, a comfortable living for over 5,000 people who had joined his company and people who had had very comfortable lives as a result of being part of his company. And 600 of those people lived in New York. Mr. Fuller's company actually was in Chicago, but as the time of this particular at this time, 600 people were in New York, living in New York, rather than in Chicago, which means that, as it was already stated, that his company was a national company, and in some cases, an international company. And so people seem to have overlooked all the good that has been done for a lot of people who were living in this particular time. Any other comments? Okay.
Well, if there's no other comments, we'll continue on with our meeting.
Okay.
So, but thank you, Deborah. Thank you so much
Sure.
for doing that, for reading and also for leading our discussion. Appreciate it. And actually, we have quite a bit today to share with you. So it kind of worked out well that we didn't have as much discussion on the reading. Over the last weekend, we've had a couple of people passed away, and I thought we should just bring attention to both of them. So I found a few videos. They're very short, about 2 minutes apiece, that I wanted to play for everyone to share with you.
But we begin remembering the legendary human rights warrior, Reverend C.T. Vivian. He died in Atlanta overnight at the age of 95. The Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient was once called the greatest preacher to ever live by the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was a minister, an author, close friend, and lieutenant of Dr. King during the Civil Rights Movement. His daughter, Denise, releasing a statement on behalf of the family, saying in part, "The family is heartbroken at the loss of our father, but proud of his lifelong work to free America from its tradition of racism, hate, and violence. He loved all mankind and will be missed." Let's take a look back now on Reverend Vivian's impact over the years.
We are all profoundly grateful to you and send you to Washington with the city's covering and God's blessing. We love you.
Equipped only with courage and an overwhelming commitment to social justice, the Reverend C.T. Vivian was a stalwart activist on the march toward racial equality.
This courthouse does not belong to Sheriff Clark. This courthouse belongs to the people of Dallas County, and these are the people of Dallas County, and they have come to register.
Whether at a lunch counter, on a freedom ride, or behind the bars of a prison cell, he was unafraid to take bold action in the face of fierce resistance.
We have come to register to vote.
By pushing change through nonviolent demonstration and advocacy, C.T. Vivian established and led numerous organizations to support underserved individuals and communities.
We had a method. The method we had was nonviolent direct action. We wouldn't have had a movement if it hadn't been for two things: nonviolence, a method.
His legacy of combating injustice will shine as an example for generations to come.
love will win.
So I wanted to show you that clip of C.T. Vivian and then also John R. Lewis.
I first came to this city in 1961, the year Barack Obama was born. I was one of the 13 original Freedom Riders. We were on a bus ride from Washington to New Orleans, trying to test a recent Supreme Court ruling that banned racial discrimination on buses crossing state line. We traveled to Rock Hill, South Carolina, about 25 miles from here. When my seatmate Albert Bigelow and I tried to enter a white waiting room, we were met by an angry mob that beat us and left us lying in a pool of blood. Some police officers came up and asked us whether we wanted to press charges. We said no. We come in peace, love, and nonviolence. We said our struggle was not against individuals, but against unjust laws and customs. Our goal was the true freedom for every American. Since then, America has made a lot of progress. We are a different society than we were in 1961. And in 2008, we showed the world the true promise of America when we elected President Barack Obama. A few years ago, a man from Rock Hill, inspired by President Obama's election, decided to come forward. He came to my office in Washington and said, "I am one of the people who beat you. I want to apologize. Will you forgive me?" I said, "I accept your apology." He started crying. He gave me a hug. I hugged him back, and we both started crying. This man and I don't want to go back. We don't want to go back. Brothers and sisters, do you want to go back? Or do you want to keep America moving forward? My dear friends, your vote is precious, almost sacred. It is the most powerful non-violent tool we have to create a more perfect union.
Anyway, I just thought they both passed away on July 17th, and I just wanted to give recognition to both of them for fighting for your right to vote, literally putting their life on the line, which leads me to the next announcement that we have supplied by Jackie Bowens. And there's a couple of links to assist you if you have any questions about voting by mail, or if you're out of the country, or if someone in the military. Now, if you're from a different state of North Carolina, you may have to do a little search, but there are organizations that will help get out the vote. And so these are a few that are in North Carolina. Actually, the one on the left is a federal voting assistance program, and then the one on the right is for North Carolina.
May I say something real quick, Jimmy?
Sure.
Along those lines, regardless of whatever state you are in, just check with your local Board of Elections to find information where you vote, mail-in vote, and all of that can be found through the Board of Elections in your town or city. And you can always Google information as well. It's very important, y'all, as all of us know, get out there, vote. People who aren't registered, encourage them to get registered and vote. Y'all know how important this is, and I'm gonna stop with that. Just do it, y'all. Y'all know what's on the line. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. She's absolutely right. Get out there and vote. Also, like I said, what we're doing now is showing a few announcements, and then we have a short tech tip and then our guest speaker. But one of the things that I wanted to make people aware of, again, I showed this last week, Google has a podcast creator program, and they're taking the best application, the best ideas, and they're investing in them with training, equipment, and cash. So they are taking applications until August the 2nd. And there's the link down at the bottom, googlecp.prx.org/apply. And if you want any of these links after the meeting, if you didn't get them, let me know and we'll get them to you. Also, one of our members, Alice Walker, provides COVID supplies. And the thing with her company, they're able to provide it within 2 days. So if you're in need of any COVID supplies, let us know and we can get you in touch with Alice Walker. And then another announcement we have is that until August 8th, there are still funds available. The PPP deadline has been extended to August 8th. And if you, again, you can do a little search. I didn't put the link here because the link was extremely long, but you can, in North Carolina, the North Carolina Business Council, but no matter where you are, you might have to do a little Google search to find someone in your area to assist you with that. Or again, contact us and we've got some people that are members that can also help you, point you in the right direction. Then I want to also let you know we've got Stan Anderson has a Motivation Readers Mastermind Network that meets every Tuesday through Saturday. And I really want to encourage everyone to call in. I call in when I can, and they just start the day off right by reading positive books, learning about entrepreneurship, just for about half an hour with the book discussion to kind of kick your day off right. So I want to encourage you to check them out Tuesday through Saturday. And then a Tuesday evening, another one of our members, Fred Foreman, has Eye Opener Tuesday. And right now, I know they've been discussing a lot of the racial issues, things that are going on. That's Fred Foreman. And these also are on the Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network. And then Cherelle and Cherelle James, they have More Than I Do. And it's a podcast for married couples. And they had a really good interview this past week with Lafayette and Sandra Miller Jones that is on the Every.Black Podcast Network. Speaking of the Joneses, we have a special relationship with them. And Mr. Jones authors this column, the Urban Call Briefs, and we're able at times to get some of our members in this national publication, OTC Beauty Magazine. If you're interested to apply, we would need a nice headshot, bio, 400 words or less, and what is your connection to the beauty industry? And it doesn't have to be a direct connection, maybe a client's in the beauty industry, or if you have any questions, let me know and we can submit an application on your behalf. And then we just want to show their faces, so you can put faces with the names with Sandra Miller Jones and Lafayette Jones. They also have an Urban Call publication, and right now they're really pushing to inform people about the options under the Affordable Care Act. So if you're recently lost your job, or you think you may lose your job, may lose your health insurance, there are still options, even though it may not be in the enrollment period. So you want to really write that number down and give them a call if you need to look at your health insurance options, despite whether or not you're in the enrollment period or not. And so anyway, those were announcements. We just try to give some announcements to let people know what's going on when we hear about it, especially things that our members are doing. We also want to highlight a member each week. And this week is really easy. We're going to highlight Cedric Nelson. And I tell people, Cedric is who I want to be like when I grow up. He's a real entrepreneur. He's got several companies, East Coast Service Group, where they do carpet cleaning, and he has a trucking service. He also has a shoe shine business. And actually, if you go to any of the airports in North Carolina, you're probably seeing his shoe shine stations in those airports throughout North Carolina. But anyway, he's just a real good guy. He's always quiet behind the scenes. He'll call me maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and he never wants anything. He's always calling because, he wants to help somebody else. So just a great person to know. Has a family, wife, and a couple of boys he's putting through college, and he's making them entrepreneurs as well. So we've got a really good one this week. That's Cedric Nelson. And actually, any of our members, once you join Every.Black, this is our main page on the website where you can join. And also you can search for members if you're looking for a product or service. Just click on the Search Now button. And one of the things we're doing also is we're making it easier for people to understand the benefits with the new members orientation every Friday at 2 p.m. We have a directory that's downloadable from the website, and we share at conferences and even digital conferences and through our podcast. We have a weekly Gmail email blast that we send out to over 6,300 people to let people know what's going on, who the speaker is for Monday nights, and what our members are doing. And then the big thing we're offering technical training for our members every Friday at 3 p.m. so that we can bring everyone up to speed on their tech skills, especially right now. Everyone's forced to go virtual. So we just look at different things. If we don't know it, we figure it out and make sure that our members know how to use the technology. And then also our podcast. We encourage you to check out our podcast at Every.Black Entrepreneur Podcast Network. Got a lot going on here. So the tech tip for today, I was going to do a little differently. I've been talking about sharing, and we are streaming our meetings online. And I wanted to share something with you. We track our attendance each week, right? And since we've been on Zoom, and you can see down in March, it was just around mid-20s, and it kept climbing. Well, that red is what the number of people that we're reaching through streaming. So pretty obvious, a couple things obvious. One, our attendance is increasing each week, just gradually, but it's increasing each week. The other thing is that if we stream, we can reach even a lot more people, right? So I was thinking about this. We really want to ask you, if you haven't done it yet, just start streaming our meetings on Facebook. You can do it right now, because we want to educate other people about entrepreneurship. I just set a goal, we're reaching hundreds, but let's set a goal of reaching 1,000 together, but I can't do it by myself. We need your help. And so just share. And I think it'll benefit everyone, because if we have a lot more people coming to the meetings, that means that you're going to be meeting a lot more entrepreneurs from around the country and doing a lot more networking through the Every.Black meetings. So I just wanted to encourage you to stream our meetings, and for the Every.Black Entrepreneur Mastermind meetings. So we always share a Bible verse, and Wheatley, if you don't mind.
Good evening, everyone. I will be coming from Proverbs 21, verse 5. The plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. To him who labors, all good things occur. The man who labors, God himself assists. But of everyone that is hasty only for selfishness will fail. The hasting to be rich by any means will bring a man to poverty. Be blessed, Every.Black. Until next Monday.
Thank you. And next, we're going to, Jackie, if you introduce our speaker.
Cherelle James is the CEO and co-owner of My Local CFO, LLC. Her business is committed to helping companies achieve their goals as well as stay on course with their mission by developing strategies that ensure long-term viability and financial growth. Cherelle has a BS degree in criminal justice and a master's in business administration. She has held positions that have afforded her the opportunities to manage program and company finances as well as teach financial stability. Cherelle has worked extensively with federal contractors in which she was responsible for handling contracts worth well over $2 million. She has served as a consultant for small businesses for over 10 years. Cherelle is in her wheelhouse. She runs a first-rate business which focuses on the bottom line without ever compromising the quality of her work. I now present to you Mrs. Cherelle James, CEO and co-owner of My Local CFO.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for that. I'm gonna have to take Jackie everywhere I go. That's what's gonna have to happen here. Thank you, Jimmy, for allowing me this time today. And good evening to everyone. I'm so honored to come before you. I think this is the first time I spoke for Every.Black, which is exciting. I have something just that I want to have a conversation with you guys today. I want to talk about something that I don't think we talk about a lot, and it's called a profit strategy mindset. Why do I want to talk about a profit strategy mindset? Now, I want to be clear that when I talk about profit, yes, I deal day in and day out dealing with financials of companies. But before we even get to the business, you as an individual have personal finances, and then you have business finances. And I'm willing to bet, and I'm pretty sure that however you take care of your finances in your home is probably exactly how you take care of finances in your business. Now, I'm not asking anybody to hold up their hands or to confess today. No need for that, but just think about that for a moment. So when I talk about a profit strategy mindset, I'm not just talking about increase in a business. I'm talking about a way of living. You know, understanding that everything has a cost associated to it, and that we all have to be good stewards of all that is placed in our hands. So I want you to do something for me right now, just wherever you are, as you're on this call or you're watching, look around where you are right now. Just look around where you are. And to yourself, what do you see? Now, I'm going to tell you that no matter what you're looking at, there's a cost associated to it. Yes. Even the people that you see on the screen or you're looking at me, there's a cost associated to it, including yourself. You have an individual cost. And you would probably say, well, I don't cost anything. I'm just here. I'm going to tell you, my glasses cost, right? This red lipstick I like cost. My scarf, my clothes, just think about the different things that you absorb on a daily basis. You cost, as well as everything else around you cost. Now, if that's true, one of the things that we need to do is understand and respect this. Just understand it and respect it. Because when we respect it, it allows us to be more intentional and aware of how we use the resources we call money. Yes, I'm talking about money. As well as it also allows us to be intentional and aware of how we become fiscally responsible for ourselves, our families, our community, and thus the world. Now, one of the things that I want you to start thinking about first is, how in the world do I have a healthy relationship with money? What does that look like? Well, I can tell you it's very, very simple. You've probably heard it before, but it's simple. It's so simple that we don't really think about it. You know, one of the first steps is understanding where you are in life. And I think this is the most important step that most people, we forget about. We don't really look at it. And sometimes we don't want to look at it, especially when we're looking at the pandemic of where we are in life. But just where you are in life, take stock of that. Be real with yourself. This is not about anybody else. It's just about you. Now you have to look at what's coming in, what's going out, and what's left over. Now, I know I snuck in there the thing we call a budget. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss at you. I'm so sorry. But in life, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's in our business or in our personal, we have to understand what's coming into our life, what's going out of our life, and what's left over. Now, once we understand that, we can begin to live a life we desire. This is why I talk about profit strategy. So for me, profit strategy is not about the money, but money, in fact, is a resource. Money is a piece of paper that sits in our wallets or on a table or in a drawer, wherever we keep it, until we put it to work towards resources that we need. So money is important, but we have to also understand what we want out of our life. Now, I know as a business owner, one of the things that I know to be true, we start businesses because we're dreaming, we want more, we want freedom, you name it, whatever it is, it takes resources and probably takes more money to gain those resources. So how do we begin to live the life we desire? After we understand where you are in life, now we have to be clear about where do you want to be in life? Where do you want to be in life? And I know a lot of you, it's been a long time since you've dreamt. Some of you are even saying, dreaming, are you crazy? I don't have time to dream. I'm telling you, to have a profit strategy mindset, to have your business grow, yes, to grow your business, to have a fully productive life, you have to dream. So the question is, where do you want to be in life? Now, after we figure out where we want to be, we have to understand a couple of things. How do we increase or protect what's coming in? How do we decrease or shift what's going out so that we have more left over the areas that we want to grow? Just that simple. I'll say it again. How do you increase or protect what's coming in? How do you decrease or shift what's going out so that you have more left over for the areas that you want to grow? Now, let me be very clear that decreasing by itself, decreasing expenses, is not the only way to save or to gain profit. Because what happens is, if you decrease too much, what will happen is you will cut out what's important, what's needed. And so it can be a detriment to decrease too much in your life. That's why the other side of that is figuring out, what do we need to increase? And sometimes it's not a decrease, it's just shifting where that money is being used, shifting what's happening in your life. So for instance, I like to go out and eat a lot. Well, if I know I'm spending most of my money on eating a lot, and I have other goals in my life, then maybe I shift, right? I shift to cooking at home more, being able to manage that cost, my eating costs, to be able to save money to put in a different area. So it's not always about decreasing. Sometimes it's about shifting and increasing other areas. Now, it's important to understand why having a healthy relationship with money is vital. The first question is, let's stop and think about it. How do you use money? Do you use it to fuel your dreams and needs, or do you use it without intentional thought or purpose? Are you what I call swiper, no swiping, where you just swipe all over the place? It's only $1, it's only $10, it's only $5, only to get home later or at the end of the week and say, I thought I had $100. What happened to it? Now, let me be clear. We are meant to live a life and live a life that's more abundant. So how do we get there? It's not by chasing after money. And that's what so many business owners do in their life. They chase after money. Now, what's this thought? What if money could chase you? What if money could chase you? Now, this is simple. You'll never catch money. You'll never, ever catch money. When you're unintentional and you're unaware of where you're going and where you want to end up in life, you're constantly chasing for more. Just think about it. You're constantly chasing for more because you don't know where that goalpost is. You don't know where you're going. We're just saying all the time. Ever heard someone say, I need more time, I need more money. I need more time, I need more money. I need more time, I need more money. Most of the time, that person is going in circles, almost like on a hamster wheel. And no matter how hard they work, it seems like they never get far enough. Sometimes it's because we haven't realized how far we came. We have to stop and realize where we started and where we came to. But when you don't know what you want in life and where you want to end up, you're just on this wheel and you become like an automatic robot. and you're just going and moving and you're after stuff and you don't even know if you've acquired it because you're still going. And when you start taking inventory, you realize, oh my gosh, so much stuff I've acquired, so much stuff I moved forward in my business, personally, with my family, in the community. Or are you just a hamster on the wheel? You know, I don't have a whole lot of time with you guys, but I do want to leave you with something that I think will help kind of organize things for you. There's an order or system, you can say, that can help you be better to manage and grow financially. And this order I use in business and I use in life. It's how I built my business and how I continue to build my business and grow. And it's how when clients come to me, I evaluate where their business is and I evaluate what's next and how we need to grow their business. So I'm going to let you in on this system. It's called organized money. You heard me right, organized money. So I'm going to show you for the business side, but there's a personal side that goes to this too. And the reason why I'm talking about business and personal, because as a business owner, you are both, right? You're not split into two. You're one person. And if we can get one place under control, we can get the other place under control. So number one, a business has to pay for itself. Now, I've got to be brutally honest with you right here. It's going to sting a little bit for some of you. But if you've been in business for a number of years and you're still pulling money out of your pocket to put in the business, you really just had an expensive hobby. Now it's okay, and I'm not judging. I'm just letting you know we got to get to some reality here, right? We talked about it in the beginning. Let's get to some reality. Let's really understand what's going on and where we are. It's been an expensive hobby because when you build a business, whether for profit or nonprofit, I don't care. At the end of the day, at some point, it's got to be able to pay for itself. Now, when I say pay for itself, I'm talking about the labor and any expenses, the cost of doing business. It's got to pay for all of that itself. And what we call a break even is the first step to that. That means the money coming in equals the money going out. And that's okay, because you're going to say, well, that means I have zero. Yes, but guess what? The business is paying for itself. That's the first step, is to figure out what's that break even point. How much do I need to come in to cover everything that has to go out? And that may fluctuate depending on if you have products or services that depend on a certain type of labor based on the number of products or services sold. So you have to take that into account, but you should be able to figure out, where's my break even point? Now, once we understand what the break even point is, everything over that is profit. So once we get to profit, here's the second step. The business must now pay the owner. Now, I see a lot of business owners that skip right over this, and they make 6 and 7 figures and they're still not paying themselves. Or at least they say they're not paying themselves, maybe not officially. But the truth is that they are, because they're steady swiping that card and it's holding, the business is supporting them in swiping. Well, when you do that, you are doing a disservice to your business. Now, I would ask you, for those of you that may be out there, and again, don't raise your hand, just think about it. Self-convict here. If someone came into your business and they had access to your business card and they just swiped at will for whatever they wanted, I think you would call that stealing, and you would probably report them. Now I want you to take that and look at yourself. That's exactly what you're doing. You're doing a disservice to your business. And how in the world can it grow if you're just swiping at leisure? So at some point, the business needs to pay the owner as the owner, not as a labor. Remember, if you're the labor in your business, you're getting paid up front for the labor portion as the business pays for itself. This is as the owner. Now, everyone in business, we build our businesses to have more income, to be able to provide for our families, to be able to go on that vacation or do those trips or whatever other dreams we have out there, help our communities more, be able to write a check and not have to worry about it, right? So what I want you to do is not put everybody before yourself. Because what business owners do is they pay everybody and they give away everything, and then they're left on the back burner, and then they're regretting their business. And we need your business. Why? Because each one of you provide a solution. Whether it's your business or personally, for those of you who have not started a business yet, we need you to be financially sound because you provide something that the world needs just by being who you are or starting the business that you started. And when you're not financially sound, then you can't do the things that you're meant to do and purpose for this earth. And as a business owner, we tend to just get angry with the business, say it didn't work, and then give up because we're burnt out and we don't reap any of the fruits of our labor. So number 2, pay the owner. Number 3, there is a rainy day coming. If 2020 has taught us anything this year, there is a rainy day coming. And that rainy day we need to save for. This is a place that business owners tend to spend all the money out of their business, not thinking about down the line in the future. You have to protect the assets that you have in your business. You need to save. 2020 has taught us that. And lastly, you need to invest. Now, business paying for itself, paying the owner, then saving, then investing. It has to go in that order, but it's cyclical. So I want to talk about investing, and I want to talk about it in a cyclical way. Cyclical meaning that you can constantly repeat it. You're constantly looking at it and you're constantly adjusting it. Why? Because if I add another product or service, I need to make sure that it's priced correctly for the business to continue to pay for itself. If the business grows, then as the owner, I'm going to want more money. But as a business, we're going to need to save more because we have more assets to protect. Now, in invest, at the very floor ground level, investing is getting support for the business. Now, people think of support as people. I'm going to tell you, don't think about that first. Support first is process and systems, automating first. People are quick to hire where they can automate, which means that you're losing money off the bat when you hire someone. But if you automate first and put processes and systems in place, the first thing that happens is you realize where you actually need a physical being. And you don't hire someone and give them 20 million things that don't go to their job description, and now they're overwhelmed just as much as you are. Now you have 2 overwhelmed people in a business not growing. So support first, process, systems, automate, and then bringing in admin support, different things like that. Now, as we keep going with investing, now we're talking about insurance, benefits, we're talking about 401ks possibly. How can we help shore up the foundation of the business? Then we may get into mergers and acquisitions or buying real estate and different things like that. So being able to provide a great place for the business to have not only a foundation, but begin to forge a really good business that is growing, that's sustainable, and at the end of the day, sellable, or investor ready, or bank ready, or whatever it may be that you need. Now, when we talk about these things, I want to talk about the personal side really, really quickly. So this is how it looks on the personal side. Number 1, you must take care of basic needs. Take care of basic needs. Now, there's some things that we call basic needs that are not basic needs, right? I found out in the pandemic, getting my hair done was not a basic need. It's something that I could do myself, but I just love for somebody else to do it. So basic needs, understanding what they are: food, shelter, water, clothing. What are the basic needs that you need? Those need to be taken care of first. Now, secondly, small wants and bigger needs. So being able to take the family once or twice a month or once or twice a week to the movies when the movies open back up, okay, guys, or on a vacation, or to a restaurant or different things like that, or bigger needs that you may have. You had your eye on that pair of shoes or that purse or whatever it may be, and now you can buy it because you've saved money, you've grown your money, you've taken care of the basic needs, and now you can start looking at some of the small wants and bigger needs that you need to take care of. Now, the third one is just like the third one for a business. Save. There's a rainy day coming for you personally as well. So you need to make sure that you're saving for it. You have something put away for the future. You also want to save in the business and personally, because if you've got those dreams and those goals, then we know what it's going towards. So the easier we know what we want in our lives, the more tangible we can make it what we're using the money for, and we're more apt to stick to it. And the last one, just like it for the business, is invest. Now, some of you have businesses and investing may be, you're already investing in a 401k. That's fine. Put that to the side. But in other insurances and benefits that you may need, or investing in your children or grandchildren or community, whatever that is for you. And this again is cyclical, right? Your basic needs can change. Small wants and bigger needs can change because we may be getting more money in the house and may be able to do more things. Savings, if I have a child or parents come live with me, I need to save more because I have more responsibilities. And then, of course, investing. Real estate comes into this as well. You know, what are some of the different ways that you can invest so that your money can begin to work for you? And that's what I call the investing stage. Now my money is able to start working for me. And that's when we stop chasing money and money starts chasing us. Now, I'm just going to tell you that no matter where you are, it's okay. There's no judgment, because you can start today just figuring out where you want to be next year from now. So this date next year, where do you want to be in your life? And then you evaluate to say, what I'm doing right now, is that taking me closer or further away from where I want to be in my life? Number 2, start dreaming. Start dreaming. If you're not dreaming, start dreaming. Because that means that you're just existing and surviving, and you're absolutely not living. And life is meant to be lived. Number 3, resources. Having money. When we talk about economic stability in our lives, for our businesses, we heard in the book, Fuller was able to employ thousands of people and help them have a good life because he had a vision and he was intentional about what he did with the business and how he handled the finances for his business. I can guarantee you that. You can impact more lives. You can have the key to sit at more tables is economic stability. The key to make decisions. You know, I decided last year that I wanted to go move to LA. And I was able to move in LA and still have my home, not have to sell anything here and go and live in a whole nother city across the US, because I built a business that was stable enough. 1, to survive whether I was here or not. So that's the process, systems, and automations that I put in place, and then the people. Number 2, to be able to help me out as I went out there. If I needed finances or needed money, it was there for me. What decisions do you have in your life? You know, I decided that no longer, if there's a hurricane coming in North Carolina, for those of you that live in North Carolina, I'm no longer hunkering down. I said, this is crazy. I'm hunkering down to see if I'm going to live or not, if the hurricane is going to hit me or not. I can easily change my location. Think about that. Just think about that thought. Is that an option for you? And I'm not saying that that may be what you want to do, but think about the things that you want in your life. Are they options for you now? They can be, if you begin to live a life of profit planning rather than just business planning and just living. I'm Cherelle James, and I have enjoyed this time with you. Thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of this, and I am more than open to take some questions.
Well, thank you, Cherelle. That was really good. I felt like you were talking to me when you said the hamster on the wheel. No, more time and more money. But I did want to ask, like right now during the COVID, do you have any particular tips for people? Because I know it's affecting everyone one way or the other. Personally, my expenses are down because gas is down and I'm having to get a meeting space and things like that. But do you have any general tips for our entrepreneurs on the line for during this time?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Jimmy, I would say that my expenses are down, but my groceries bills are crazy. I'm just eating way too much, so I don't know if my expenses are down. They just got shifted, I think, with these groceries. But yes, I do. One of the first things I tell people is in times like this, especially in business, you want to get back to what's the main thing of your business. For so long, business owners go after so many things. We got so many services and so many products. Now it's time to drill down into what do I do well? What does this business do well? What do we get in business to do? And what are we doing very well? Now, it's a myth that people are not making money right now. And I understand that depending on what business you're in, you might have to shift or pivot in ways that you have never imagined and may have been shut down in ways that you never imagined. But this is when I say to business owners to be creative. And a lot of you would say, I'm not creative, I just do this one thing. Number one, get out of your own way. Because you've been doing what you've been doing for so long, you can only think about doing it that way. And now that you can't do it that way, you're at a loss. Well, do you remember when that business was just an idea? Do you remember the first time you decided to pitch that product or service that you have? You were being creative. You've learned how to create along the way. Now it's time to be creative again. You have a lot of resources. You have a lot of assets already in your business. I can guarantee you, whether they're here on paper or things that you've done before, this is the time that you revisit plans that you had years ago when you first started. This is the time that you look at not only what you're doing well, but this is where finances come in of having good record keeping, where you can look at trends of what's been selling well. What's the demand in the market right now? What's the solution that needs to be filled that's in your arena? Those are things that you want to talk about. I will also say for you that are in the downtime, this is not time to just be down. Okay. Now we've been in this thing for 4 months, so the pity party is over. You should be planning. I don't care who you are. You should be planning for the future, planning to hit the ground running. There's some things that you wanted to do in your business. Now's the time to start implementing those things. Now's the time to look at how you can incorporate virtual online into your business. A lot of times we're stuck into where we live and we are only selling to the people where we live, whether we're brick and mortar or not, because we've got to get in our mind that I'm gonna drive to them or I can talk to them on the phone, that type of thing. Virtual opens up a whole new world for you. There was a pharmacy that opened right before COVID hit, like not even a month before COVID hit. And he had a lot of people come in right when COVID hit. Of course, I got 90 days of medicine, right? I don't know what's going to happen. Let me get 90 days of medicine. So what happens? If everyone comes in at the beginning and gets 90 days of medicine, that's 90 days that no one's coming back to your facility, even though it's an essential facility. And the question I had for him was, can you sell across the state of North Carolina? He said, yes. Great. Do you mail? He said, yes. Wonderful. Well, why do you have to build your business just in Durham, North Carolina? You have the whole state of North Carolina, and in the pandemic, nobody's trying to come out. So a mail service for medicine is a no-brainer. Just doing the same thing that you've always done and tweaking it just a little bit to fit the times for now. But if you're a business owner, you should be looking forward A lot of things should not catch you off guard, because you should be looking forward of what's coming, what type of technology. Jimmy does technology tips. What type of technology is coming down the line? Where is the economy going? How are people shopping right now based in my industry? What are some of the leading things that are happening in my industry? Those are all things that you can do right now. Those are all ways that you can stay plugged in. I know there's a long answer, but I hope it answered your question.
That's great. Great answer.
Hi, Cheryl. This is Pat. Thank you. It's wonderful. I would have been on earlier, but we lost some fellow sign language interpreters, 2 in the last 3 days. So I needed to go do something with that. Piggybacking on what you were just saying, in the industry that I'm in is more of a service-oriented industry that's dependent upon a community, the deaf community. And so many interpreters, one, for example, she posted something where in less than 2 weeks, 90% of her typical going out into the community to go interpret dried up. And so the thing is, with the way that industry works is, unless you're in one of the companies that offers virtual interpreting as an employee, those who are actual freelance interpreters, and a lot of them are small freelance interpreter companies, a lot of times the contracts you have are with the major organizations that are now closed. And a lot of times that's part of the sort of B2B, because the company pays for the service, not the actual client, the customer. And so in terms of how to pivot virtually, that's the thing to try and figure out, because we would have a deaf client, for example, physically in a space and we're interpreting, but there's no direct business navigation between the interpreter and the client. How would you pivot a virtual sign language interpreting company? Because you know, we have agencies that are contacting interpreters saying, will you interpret a gig for us? Those are agencies, but there are many interpreters who are freelancers, smaller individuals. And so we do gigs where we might do some with an agency, but a lot of times it might be direct. And many in our deaf community, they're not spending that kind of money or, you know, seeking those type of services outside of going through their businesses, doctors, and whatevers. And most of them have switched to telehealth and virtual video interpreting. So it still is, I'd say our industry is in a shift point. And so how do those individual interpreting business find a way within that whole paradigm to kind of—
What's the number one problem in all of this, and what's happening with the pandemic and all of this? What's the number one problem that you see?
Right now, the number one problem is because most of what we do physically requires you to be on site for a lot of things. And it's preferred by a lot of deaf clients. Then you're dealing with COVID-19 and the distancing thing. As far as the virtual is concerned, there are services where they can call through those services to get that service, but that's a major 1 or 2 corporations, which is different from individual interpreters who may have had a contract here and a contract there. So it's more of that group that I'm speaking of, where the building that they were providing a contract for, they're closed. They're not open, they're not working, so they don't have clients to need our services. And the clients themselves do not pay directly based on ADA law.
I'm with you. So yes, there is a pivoting that has to happen. So some of the things that you can do as an independent, I'm assuming you're one of the independent contractors, since you're asking the question. As an independent contractor, you have to take initiative to go search and seek out those companies that are providing the virtual services. Because if they're providing more virtual services, whether it's a smaller doctor office, there's individual doctor's offices, there's individual therapy practices, and some of it requires some education. But it's going to require you or them, the whole group of whoever, to take some initiative upon themselves to figure out, okay, where is the opportunity lie in all of this? And that's why I asked you, the first thing is, what's the problem that you see? Not the problem for you as a contractor. but the problem in the industry between those, because there's some that are probably not getting the service right now that need it.
Those that are needing this service in this industry, they literally can contact 2 major corporations, and those corporations, of which I'm also an employee of one of those, and you can have someone interpret for you in a virtual format. And doctor's office and everybody are taking advantage of that option. So as far as, say, for example, you're a deaf person, you have an appointment, you have a conference call, you have a meeting, they literally can connect themselves, or their company connect themselves with these major corporations, and the interpreting happens virtually.
Cherelle?
Which is different than individuals going out.
Pat and Cherelle, what I'm gonna suggest is, I know Cherelle offers some consultation for folks. I think for this particular case, if you get in touch with Cherelle, I think, you know, you can work something like that out. Reason I'm saying that is that we've got some other things to share before the evening's up, but I think if she does she'll do some one-on-one consultation with you to see if she can help you out.
So absolutely, Jimmy, I'm putting my information and a link for to get on my calendar for anyone who has questions or needs a small consultation, complimentary. That link is being provided there in the chat. And I'll just wrap this up really quickly and say, one of the things that you have to really do is figure out there's another problem there. You know, Jimmy says it all the time, where there's problem. What do you say, Jimmy? Tell me how you say it.
Where there's change, there's opportunity.
Where there's change, there's opportunity. You just may have to see it in a different way. And I'll leave it right there. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, and what we're going to do is we've got a short video clip, and then we're going to do some breakout sessions. So you'll still get a chance to talk to Cherelle. And then at 9:30, we just kind of have an open discussion. So again, you'll have a chance to speak with her, assuming you're going to be around, Cherelle, for a little while.
For a little while after 9:30, I have to go to another meeting. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's show this, and then we're going to have a breakout session so you can actually meet some folks from different parts of the country.